And he'll be up for this contest against his former side Arsenal, of course. As far as the Gunners are concerned, in the match week that Forest, Chelsea, Liverpool all dropped points, they needed to win the North London derby just to keep on Liverpool's coattails, and they did just that, Darren.
They did. They weren't convincing.
No.
I have to say, I mean, if our Spurs had something about them, they'd have beaten them. But the problem was that even though Tottenham can do this...
The moment of the week.
A slightly scuffy goal.
they can also do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the problem now.
We were talking about this, Darren, weren't we? The set-piece delivery from Declan Rice.
Yeah, it's terrific. And your goalkeeper, I mean, he'd been uncomfortable with his distribution all the way through the game.
Should have done better there.
But he should have done better there as well.
Isn't it funny how quickly you go from front page to back page like that? Because he was brilliant for the first couple of games.
But maybe that was adrenaline. Maybe that was vibes. Maybe that first game that he played, he thought, I'm new players. And also, Liverpool hugely underperformed in that game as well. But the problem with Arsenal is that they've, one win in their last 4. They had no clean sheet in their last 6. They don't have a striker without Bukayo Saka. They're toothless. They did score the other night, but they had to rely on an own goal to get them that foothold back in the match. And you compare them to Aston Villa, wins in each of their last 3 in all competitions, 7 goals in their last 4-5. I mean, they are absolutely flying. And Unai Emery, the guy who destabilised Arsenal last season in pursuit of that title. So, and it's almost as if he's really driven in games against Arsenal, because obviously he remembers the way
he wasn't really treated that well, wasn't he? Let's be honest. I mean, when he got there, I feel like he never really got that respect. And this guy's a serial winner.
Don't forget, he did step in after Arsene Wenger, and it was almost like a poison chalice at that point, isn't it?
Similar to like David Moyes going after Sir Alex Ferguson to a certain degree, but I do think that he never really got the respect that he deserved, and I think he's an unbelievable manager. But I think just going back to Arsenal for a second, that win in the North London derby, don't underestimate that for the fans, because I was at the game and it was unbelievable. That atmosphere is one of the best in the world, I think. But I think that result, you're right, it wasn't a great game. The result, like, they've missed Saka so much.
Yeah.
Odegaard, for me, is one of the best players. I love him. I think he's brilliant. But they seem to have only options is set pieces. Now, Declan Rice's delivery, unbelievable. People can say, oh, you know, Arsenal set piece FC. Who cares if you're scoring goals? Who cares? Declan Rice's delivery is unbelievable. But I do think Mikel Arteta would have come under even more pressure, because if people were pressuring him right now, he's been there for 5 years at Arsenal, 1 FA Cup, you know, Community Shield, you can arguably talk about that. But I do think that people are expecting Arsenal this year to win the league, genuinely. If Man City are not going to win the league this year...
Well, they came within 2 points of City, didn't they?
They did, but I think, Manish, they've come so close in the last couple of years, and they seem to lose games when it really matters. Last year, Southampton, then drawing with West Ham, when it really matters. And I think all Arsenal fans expected this year to be their year.
Do you think they struggle to cope with pressure?
Seems that way. But it kills me to say it, because I spent 12 amazing years at Arsenal and the men's team have been amazing to me. But I do think, you know, Mikel Arteta, when he went in there after Arsene Wenger, did an incredible job. But now what? You know, Gabriel Jesus is now out injured with the ACL injury, that Mikel Arteta's still saying that he doesn't think they need a centre-forward. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what's causing a problem.
That's the last thing Arsenal fans want to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, look, a few questions, maybe 1 or 2 question marks, but clearly, one positive over this season has been the form of defender, Miles Lewis-Skelly. And he was talking to Righty as it happened after his first ever North London derby experience on Wednesday night.
How's it feeling? Tell me how your body is.
I feel amazing.
You feel tough, you feel strong, bro, look.
I feel like $1 million, you know, so yeah.
Is it everything you expected it to be? What's happening right now?
Yeah, everything and more, you know, honestly. Everything and more, honestly, yeah.
Look at what you're smiling. What happened just now? Something just happened with you and was it Bergvall?
Yeah.
How's you feeling now?
Just happy, you know, just taking it in, soaking it in. Yes, sir. This is amazing, man.
So at that time, obviously we hadn't finished the game yet, but you looked like you was properly buzzed up. Who's here? Was it your mum here? Your dad?
My mum, my grandma, my friends.
Your grandma's here?
Yeah, I had to put on a show for my grandma, make sure that I didn't look soft in front of her. I had to make sure I was milling my tackles for her, and hopefully she's proud of me, so yeah.
We're all proud of you.
Heartwarming stuff. I love that.
Well, I spoke to his mum today, and
Oh,
she's
did
very
you?
proud of him. Yeah. His mum, Marcia, she's very, very proud of him. He's really acquitted himself well since he's come into the team. He's got a lot of confidence. He's got a lot of defensive discipline, but his distribution is outstanding as
so
well.
good.
And the maturity levels as well. You know, yes, there was a real buzz around that game, and rightly so. But I think as far as he's concerned, you know what it's like to be in a young player in a top team like that. Sometimes you can go in and be overawed by the surroundings. You weren't.
No,
you can explain
but it takes
why.
I think it takes a certain character. But what I love about him is that you can tell he's so excited. You mentioned, like, even speaking to Wrighty, legend of Arsenal, when you're doing a post-game interview after playing in the North London derby. Like, I know what I used to do when I was that age. I used to come back and watch all of my goals, like, that I'd scored on TV, and I couldn't believe it. I have to go to school the next day.
Really?
And I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe I've just played for Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure he feels that
It's a
way.
pinch me moment.
Do you know,
Yeah,
like, similar
yeah.
to when Rashford was still playing, he was at school, Wayne Rooney, like, that feeling is infectious. And I think the fact that he was 18 years old to play in the North London derby, you can tell how excited he spoke about his grandma. Like, that's what you love to see. But the pressure, like, Bergval's 18 as well. There's a lot of young players in the Premier League. And Lewis Skelly I saw him play in America in pre-season, and I think his mum and that went over then. Didn't know if he was going to get to play. So coming from that type of family, having that support, I think it's so lovely to see.
He's showing no pressure, but every Arsenal game carries pressure. They have to almost carry on winning, right?
Yes.
This is where they're at if they have to try and hunt down Liverpool. Unbeaten in the Emirates Stadium, which is a very proud record for them. The last team they lost to there, Aston Villa. In April. It was a 2-0 defeat. It derailed their title hopes last season. They'll have a score to settle. Villa are no pushovers right now.
No, they're not, and they're so well balanced.
Yeah.
He is performing surgery as we speak on the side because they've conceded so many goals during the first half of the season. They won 5 of the last 10 games against Arsenal, and tellingly, crucially for this game, they've got a point man in Ollie Watkins, who's in terrific form. They've got a guy who can play an attacking midfield, Morgan Rogers, who knows where the goal is and is such a intelligent player in that position because he can find a space to be able to provide the ammunition for the front men to do that. I think this is going to be a really tough game, and if Arsenal win, it will increase that pressure on Arteta to bring in a striker.
Is he going to do it or not?
I think he will. I think he has to.
Is it his choice though, Darren? You know, obviously Stan Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, they're the ones that have to put the money behind it.
I think it's him and Edu. You know, obviously Edu's going to. It had been him and Edu, but essentially he's the guy with the decision making. But I think he may have to sell to buy. Obviously Edu's got his other job now.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
But he's the one-to-one. Was the one who brought him in on the basis that he would have the final word. They would do what he wants.
Okay, wow. You'd almost think now is the time to reinforce in the striker options because they want to try and get their hands on that first league trophy for so many years.
Committing to a new 9.5-year contract at Manchester City. Good news for them, not so good news for the rest of the Premier League.
Well, that's their news. If they are willing to commit with a player for that long, it's because they are really happy, so good news for them.
From a fitness point of view, for you this weekend, Ricardo Calafiori, is he close to being in contention to feature tomorrow?
Yeah, it's had a few decisions to make this afternoon with the medical staff to understand whether they are in the best condition to this game or the next one, so we'll decide that.
You're dealing with a number of long-term issues. Are all those players on track when it comes to their rehabilitation? Anybody close to making a return?
No, so far, no.
It was such a significant win for you on Wednesday against Tottenham. What impact are you hoping, and what impact have you seen already on the squad and the club itself?
Yeah, I love the attitude that the team played with. We had some big performances. It was obviously a beautiful night for us to celebrate in front of our people. Moving to the next one because a big one again against Villa.
And in terms of Aston Villa, defeat at home to them last season proved really costly in terms of your title hopes. That's the last league match you actually lost at home against Aston Villa back in April. Do you feel like you need to be almost perfect between now and the end of the season to win the title this year?
We're going to try to be as good as we possibly can tomorrow night. That's the objective. They are a really good side. That's why they beat us last season, and we proved as well when we played them at Villa Park that they are a really difficult opponent. So we'll prepare in the best way to win.
And you admitted on Wednesday that you're actively looking to try to sign a forward in this transfer window. Do you think that you can still challenge for the title this year without any reinforcements?
At the moment, we don't have them. We are trying, as I said, actively to find the best possible solution, but we will have to wait and see what we can do.
How challenging is it to find the right player? What profile are you looking for in the forward that you want to bring in?
Obviously, it's not something that I'm going to discuss here. Obviously, we have lost two massive players for us in the front line, and we need some support there.
And we understand that Martin Zubimendi could be joining the club in the summer. I won't ask you about that directly, but with contracts running out for the likes of Thomas Partey and Jorginho, is midfield an area you're looking to strengthen in?
We have certain situations, contracts expiring, we can renew like we have done in the past those contracts. So again, we are actively always evolving the squad and understanding what the players want to do when they finish our contracts together, and we have to be prepared.
Alice from the Premier League.
Hi.
You called your team sensational in the win over Spurs. I just wonder, how do you go about ensuring that your players retain that level of performance throughout this second half of the season, particularly when you're looking ahead to fixtures that, say, aren't quite as emotive as a North London derby?
Well, when we play every 3 days, obviously that's the type of performance that we want, and the performance has been there. After it's about the results, and a few things didn't go our way in the first few minutes of the match, especially because the dominance that we showed going 1-0 down was tough, but mentally I think the team showed incredible resilience, patience, composure to overcome the situation and win the game.
Sure, you said this week that your players want more, they want to be tested and they want to be questioned. Could that suggest that they're actively thriving on the pressure of trying to chase Liverpool down right now?
I think so. I think if you want to be fighting for the top trophies with the top teams for 11 months, like we've been doing the last 2.5 years now, you have to enjoy that kind of moments, that kind of circumstances, those challenges, the pressure that comes with it, because it's the beauty of it. That we are playing to win, and that's exactly what we want to be.
Yeah, you use the word pressure there. We often hear it used in a negative context, particularly in football. But is that something you want your players to be feeling now then?
Well, I think the pressure comes from within. I think nobody can put pressure on you. I think it's the wrong way, and if that's the case, it's because probably you're not doing or preparing the right way. I think you have to strive to be the best as you possibly can, and there is no more pressure, in my opinion, than that when you daily have this commitment with yourself to achieve that.
Okay, Villa up next tomorrow. We all know what happened when they came to the Emirates last season, of course, but you did beat them at Villa Park in August. How wary are you of the threat they pose tomorrow, and how much does that result against them back in April still hurt, I guess?
Well, because we know the difficulty of the team that they are, that's why they're performing so well. They have an excellent coach, very good players, really good organization, and we are so used to in the Premier League. It's not very different every 3 days. So tomorrow we're going to have to be really good again to deserve to win the game.
Finally, from me, a couple of weeks back, you said that you feel Arsenal have been the best team in the league in the last year without winning a major trophy. How realistic do you feel your prospects are of putting that right this time round?
In that case, I refer to the stats. And when you look at all the stats that are relevant to do that, that's what the stats said. But the reality is that we weren't, because somebody else won the title. So that's something, there is a margin there that we still need to improve and be better.
Thank you for tomorrow.
Thank you.
There's one from Eleanor.
Renee Slegger's appointed this morning on a permanent basis. She's had a fantastic run during her time in interim charge. I just wanted to get your reaction to her permanent appointment and ask how much you're looking forward to working alongside her.
Very happy, obviously, and she's done a phenomenal job since she joined the role, and very happy for her. Very happy for the club as well, because promoting someone that was already with us, I think, is a very strong signal and a very good decision, I must say. So very happy for her.
Take on Aston Villa on Saturday night as the Gunners chase down their first Premier League crown for 21 years.
I think if you want to be fighting for the top trophies with the top teams for 11 months, like we've been doing the last 2.5 years now, you have to enjoy that kind of moments, that kind of circumstances, those challenges, the pressure that comes with it, because it's the beauty of it. That we are playing to win, and that's exactly what we want to be.
We can feel a little bit confidence after we won in Everton, but the challenge is tomorrow again, try to be competitive. Through being competitive, we can be close to take a good result. Of course, tomorrow Arsenal is very, very difficult. Every match that we are facing, they are in very, very difficult. In Everton as well. But tomorrow maybe even more.
Arsenal are aiming to close the gap on Premier League leaders Liverpool this Saturday when they face Aston Villa at the Emirates Stadium. The Gunners will need a favour from Brentford earlier in the day if they are to edge closer to Liverpool in the table, providing they can avoid slipping up against the villains, of course. Arsenal have distressing memories of this exact fixture last season as Unai Emery's Villa delivered a fatal blow to them in the title race. Arsenal can build on the confidence of Wednesday's victory in the North London derby against Tottenham Hotspur, even if they were far from their best as they secured bragging rights. Injuries continue to make Mikel Arteta's life more challenging and he will need to get his team selection bang on for the arrival of 7th-placed Villa. Here is how Arsenal could line up this weekend. Arsenal predicted lineup versus Aston Villa 4-3-3. Goalkeeper David Raya. The Spaniard wasn't overly busy in the North London derby but did produce one impressive reflex save to deny Dejan Kulusevski. He could well be called into action more frequently on Saturday. Defenders Jurrien Timber. Timber is Arsenal's only senior right-back option and has been forced to play an awful lot of football over the past month. He has, however, performed admirably despite a significant workload. William Saliba. The Real Madrid target will be tasked with containing Ollie Watkins on Saturday, who now has 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 4 outings. John Duran will prove a similar handful off the bench. Gabriel produced a monumental performance against Tottenham and Arsenal need their Brazilian superstar more than ever considering their attacking difficulties in recent weeks. Miles Lewis-Skelly has gained invaluable experience this term and offered a stellar performance against Tottenham. Having performed expertly against Spurs' tricky front line, he will be tested by the likes of Morgan Rogers and Leon Bailey this weekend. Martin Odegaard was much improved on Wednesday and helped Arsenal to victory, with the graceful Norwegian producing a characteristically inventive and measured display in the midfield. Thomas Partey. He will need to offer Arsenal's defensive line significant support against Villa, who are so often lethal on the counter-attack. Mikel Merino is sniffing around his starting spot. Declan Rice has not been able to replicate his exquisite debut season performances for much of the campaign but put in an assured shift against Spurs. Villa's engine room is stacked with impressive options, including one-time Arsenal target Amadou Onana, and Rice will need to dominate the midfield battle. Forward Leandro Trossard scored the winner against Spurs on Wednesday with a fierce strike, albeit Antonin Kinskay should have rebuffed it. A confidence-boosting performance for the Belgian, who needs to step up amid attacking injuries. Kai Havertz has come under fire in recent weeks due to his profligacy and he can have few complaints following some woeful misses. However, has guaranteed a starting berth with Gabriel Jesus sidelined and always works relentlessly off the ball. Gabriel Martinelli, surprisingly omitted from the lineup on Wednesday, but Raheem Sterling's disappointing performance in the derby will only ensure Martinelli's return. He should give Matty Cash a difficult afternoon.